Lesson 5. Little voice setting the context. We talked about our little voices in the last module about the lack of power in victimhood. You remember the one constantly telling you that you're not good enough, you're fat, you're not very smart or very lucky, and so on? That little voice in your head is your little self, which is generally setting the context unobserved. We need to help ourselves. I invite you for yourself to look at your little voice and choose a new context and make this context for changing everything in the process of living, breathing, eating, sleeping, and doing everything in between for the sake of yourself and your community, however small or large that might be. What if your new possibility was the main context for your life and nothing else was important? While choosing a powerful context for living your life, you need to contend with the domain of making assessments. Your assessments are always creating your context. We often take our opinions to be truths and become trapped by our sureties. Making powerful assessments and having effective opinions as an adult is a super skill that we will teach you in another lesson. Now, if you meet a potential business partner with the idea that I'm going to use him and I'm going to get the most out of him and I'm going to get this deal done in the way that I want to get it done, that gives you the context for that conversation. Or you can have the context that says, I'm going to start a new partnership. My power is going to go up. His power is going to grow and her power is going to grow. And we both are going to be great together. And this is a new beginning and it will have challenges. And I have a mood of anticipation in this new partnership. Now, that gives you a new context for a whole new world of possibilities. Context is about your mood and about the background mood of the relationship. And that mood is about trust. Trust is about your capacity and your skill for navigation of maps of power in all domains. The capacity for trust and context are super skills for gaining and managing power. We will converse about the topic of trust in later sessions at length. In the times that are coming, we will have to regenerate many contexts for ourselves. We may have to reconfigure our families, our way of being in our works, our identities, our offers, and our living situations. The rate of change is increasing in our times, and it will continue to increase as technological innovation accelerates, and the climate and the mood of the planet and the people continue to turn hot. And the general anxiety and unrest continue to reinvent us as beings and confront us with new contexts for earning a living and caring for those we care about. The first care is, of course, for yourself and then for your family. But don't stop there. Expand the circle and see what contexts become available to you. If you think what is good for you and what is not good for you only at a personal level, then you exclude yourself as a small and isolated self. And then a small and isolated self cannot have power. A smaller isolated self can have a smaller context. It can only have a small table, and you will do just enough work to fulfill that context and nothing more. But being that has the context of caring for food on the table for millions of others has a new kind of power. Until now, whatever new context you are generating, that is fine. If you have a major upgrade in your context where you have suddenly realized a loss of power and have committed yourself to the investigation and action, that is great. If you have a roadblock or resignation, or you see no new contexts are to be generated anywhere, that is fine as well. For the fact that you're committed to this conversation, you have the genesis seed of the new era and you are already generating a new context. And generating a new context to deal with the loss of power brings tremendous amounts of power and with it a great deal of satisfaction and peace. Your new context might make you a little bit busier with your day and might force you to be more disciplined and push you to deal with your own bad moods and others' bad moods with power and dignity. Now, take a moment and generate new context for yourself in domains where you have a loss of power. See the situation for what it is. See what actions you must take and what new context that is commanding that action.